Hello teachers and welcome to this live streamed community event on the Teaching English Facebook page. Today we are joined by one of the British Council's EdTech team researchers, Ninaz Ichaporia, who's going to be shedding some light on some recent findings into artificial intelligence and English language teaching. How are you today, Ninaz?
I'm doing really well. Thank you, Marcus.
Excellent. Well, thank you for joining us for this live event. Teachers watching, my name is Marcus James. I'm part of the Teaching English team. If you do have any questions for us, do pop them in the live chat. We've got team member Naomi, who's going to be moderating and helping reply to some of your queries. So, Ninaz, let's get started then. So, the report, which teachers can download, there's a link in the description of this video. What did the report look at when you were doing the research?
Right. So, well, as everyone knows, artificial intelligence has captured the world's imagination in the last year or so. There's lots of questions that people in education want the answers to. They want to know, how will AI change the way we teach languages? They want to know if it'll change the way we train our teachers. And they want to know if technology may replace teachers someday. That's a question that's very live amongst people in education nowadays. We really wanted to capture the changes that AI is bringing to English language teaching. We wanted to understand the implications of these changes, and we wanted to understand how people feel about these changes, including teachers. So we looked at three key sources of information. We looked at what the literature says. We did a review of the last 10 years of research in this area. And we looked at what teachers say. We did a global survey, and 1,348 teachers responded to that survey. Many of the teachers were from our Teaching English community. So thank you to everyone who responded to that survey. Your voice has been captured in this report, and your opinions are reflected in this report. And then the last thing we looked at was we conducted some in-depth interviews with a range of stakeholders. These were a range of people from education, ELT, including representatives of ministries of education, edtech sector experts, CEOs of edtech companies, ELT sector experts, and teacher trainers. And so we took all of this information and we've synthesized it into the report, which is available free to download.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Ninaz, for basically giving us a nice introduction to the research. And of course, thank you, teachers. Yes, we did share the survey. I think it was back in October, November last year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how many teachers responded? Quite a few, wasn't there?
1,348 teachers responded, and those responses came from 118 countries and territories around the world. So a really very strong representative cross-section of teachers from around the world. And, you know, it was a brilliant response. They not only did they give us their ratings on a number of different areas in terms of what tools they use, what they use these tools for, they also, a lot of teachers left some comments and shared their thoughts with us. And it's been so enlightening to read their opinions on AI and ELT.
Absolutely. We do enjoy reading teachers' comments, and we are being joined by many teachers who probably did take part in that survey, Nina. So you can see we've got Rosemary in Peru, we've got Sanya, we've got Carol in Peru as well, we've got Mohammed in Libya, lots of teachers so far, Matuk in Algeria, Dorgotov with a flag that I don't quite recognize. Can you tell us where you're from? Dorgotov, Tosfinar from Armenia, Jose in Japan, Nozabe in Azerbaijan. Too many teachers to name them all. We do apologize, but Naomi will be liking your comments as you contribute to the discussion. Ninaz, we've been talking on Teaching English social media, Facebook and Instagram this month as part of our focus on integrating ICT into our teaching practice. And of course, AI is a huge part of that now. And the teachers who have been looking at our posts have been quite mixed in their views. Some really embracing this new exciting technology, and others a little bit more skeptical, possibly focusing more on the negative aspects, the stories that we hear in the news, the laziness, the cheating, the copying, the plagiarism. Um, what role does AI play in that, or what role does the teacher have in, I guess, checking or policing the use of AI? Would there be any policies or rules that would have to be in place for teachers to really crack down on that?
That's a really interesting question. I mean, at the outset, what I'd like to say is what came out very strongly through our report is that it is really important for teachers to feel like they have been prepared enough to be able to integrate AI into their teaching, or to be able to actually teach their students how to use AI in an ethical and responsible way. A lot of teachers in our survey told us that they actually didn't feel like they had had enough training in this area. Only 20% of teachers said, yes, I've had enough training when it comes to AI in my teaching. So that's one really key area that the report highlights, and that comes directly from what teachers are telling us. In terms of some of the anxieties around the possible downsides of students using AI in their work, of course, teachers are concerned about things like whether it'll make students lazier, or they might rely less on their own skills and rely more on AI. We've had some interesting findings from looking at the research literature. So we know that AI can help with a range of things. AI can help students improve their speaking. It can help students improve their writing skills. It can help with reading. And it can also help with pedagogy and self-regulation. It can help students become more independent learners and help them with goal setting when it comes to learning. So AI does have a very wide range of applications when it comes to English language teaching. But of course, those have to be balanced with helping students use them responsibly. When it comes to policies, um, there is a need for ethics frameworks around the responsible use of AI in general, not just to stop cheating, because that's just one of the possible downsides of using AI. There are other, possibly even bigger concerns, things like bias. AI can reflect biases, and AI can carry messages about standardized language use. It can unintentionally exclude certain groups of people. So we know all this from looking at the research, and what's needed are ethics frameworks and regulations for AI in general, that, of course, teachers can use.
Excellent. Thank you for those insightful comments in response to that. Yeah, a little bit of negativity. And of course, there's a lot of benefits that can come out of AI. And I'm sure many of us have already taken advantage of some of those. A few comments coming through right now. This one from Omar, whose views actually is reflected by quite a few teachers, that artificial intelligence is everything related to computers, but at the end of the day, there are humans behind it. It requires human intelligence, whether it's feeding the information or dealing with, applying the information that we take from AI. Thank you so much, Omar, for your comment there. Let's see if there's anything else to bring up. Teachers, do let us know what is the situation where you teach. I know I've heard, anyway, a few countries have banned the use of like generative AI applications like ChatGPT. Many schools and education systems have imposed strict bans on the use of AI for both teachers and learners. Let us know what the situation is where you teach. And Inez, we have recently, well, you have recently presented a lot of this research at our mini event last week, where you presented a webinar. In that webinar, the outcomes for the teachers, the takeaways, if they were to look back at your webinar recording, which is available on the website, what would they get from it?
Okay. So, in terms of what teachers themselves are telling us, they're telling us a few clear things. Teachers are using AI for their teaching, a range of AI powered tools. In terms of the most popular tools, they told us those were language learning apps. There was language generation AI, so Gen AI, and there were chatbots. Those were the three like most used tools that teachers told us they were using. 24% of the teachers told us that they don't use any tools at all. So there's also a significant number of teachers who are not using these tools. And perhaps that means they don't feel confident using them and they need more support in terms of how to integrate AI into their teaching. In terms of what they're using those tools for, teachers are using them to help their learners practice English. They're using them to do things like generate lesson plans. So again, teachers are making use of these tools. And teachers mostly agree that it benefits the development of all the four language skills. But where they disagree is on how it affects learning. So a lot of teachers told us, yes, it helps my learners and it's a positive thing. And almost the same number told us, no, it helps, it doesn't help, it in fact impacts English language learners' development negatively. So it's interesting because teachers are quite evenly split on this one, on whether it's a good thing or not a good thing for their learners. And you can see that in some of the comments coming up in the chat. Some teachers are saying they use it. Some are saying that it's banned in my school, or that my students are too reliant on it. And these are really good points that that you all are making in the chat. Because one of the things that we found, yes, we found from the research that AI can help with language skills. So it can help students improve their speaking, for example. But where we need more research, we need more answers is what are the long-term effects of using these tools? The tool can help in the short term, but we don't have an answer about whether it helps in the longer term or how the student skills develop independent of those tools. So there's lots of interesting questions there. I guess in terms of what else they should take away from that particular talk, I think some of the things to be aware of are things like inclusion. Someone mentioned in the chat that you need an internet connection to access AI. In most cases, that's very true, and access is a very very important issue. So issues of inclusion, issues of access, also issues about who is literate or proficient enough to use AI. We had digital literacy, now we have concerns around AI literacy, and both teachers and students will need to keep up with that. And obviously, we need to support them with that. And then there are also issues, as I mentioned, around bias. There's all kinds of concerns around those things, which teachers and experts in the industry are telling us that we need to be cautious about.
Absolutely. So I'm not going to scare you with how many people are watching right now or how many comments are coming through, but clearly this is a popular topic with teachers. And as you said, it's quite divisive, some quite in favour and some opposed. Let's have a look at some of the comments coming in right now. So this one here from Faiza, who says that AI gives some ease to teachers in the school academic life. And we've shared a few posts recently. In fact, one of our team members, Wham, she made a reel demonstrating one good use of ChatGPT in taking a text and essentially creating prompts and questions and answers and vocabulary lists and word clouds. It's fantastic, and all so quickly. Obviously, the teacher would need to check that. But what's your opinion on that? Is there anything wrong with teachers using generative AI to help them create their lesson content?
I think I'm going to go back. I think I'm going to go back to the teacher survey, and one of the teachers left a comment which I loved, And I keep quoting, which was any tool, if used negatively, if not used properly, can have a negative impact. So I think it can help, but of course you have to be aware of what to watch out for and how to use it. So I think, as the teachers here are commenting, it can help. In fact, generating lesson plans and generating content were some of the top things that teachers told us they're using these tools to do. If you're teaching business English, for example, and you want to have a text that the students can read, or you want to have some kind of listening thing where the students can listen to a business English conversation, it would be very quick. You'd be able to go there and generate it and get something to use. There are things we need to think about. Obviously, as you mentioned, Marcus, there's always a human presence required to check through and make sure that it's appropriate, the content is at the right level, but also that there is nothing in the content that you wouldn't put in yourself, nothing that's worrying, nothing that's a red flag. Apart from that, you also need to think about things like copyright. That's some very interesting conversations around who owns the content generated by AI. And I think the last thing for me would be, for me personally, as a teacher, if I were using an AI tool to generate a text, I would be quite transparent about it. I would tell my students that's what I would have done. I would actually cite that I used this text was generated using this tool in this version. And I think it's important to do that because we're talking about not allowing our students to do those things, just pick stuff up from AI and use it. So I think modeling it ourselves is quite an interesting thing to do.
And of course, I mean, AI is so much more to artificial intelligence than doing things for us, writing things for us. Teresita here comments, stating the impact of using responsible AI tools in academic writing and other technical reports. Now, one project that I'm involved in currently is reading quite densely written research publications, similar to the one that you just released. I don't always have time to read 200 pages, but there are tools, AI tools, where you can upload the PDF or the link, and it will turn it into an audio file and play it at 2 times the speed while generating notes as you listen. So it's a way of digesting that information. It's helping you to do what you need to do. So, I don't think that would be unethical if I were to summarize using that tool, would I? You are on mute, Ninaz, selectively.
My bad. Thank you. I think that you've put it very well. I think all of these kind of judgments about whether it's right or wrong are very dependent on the context and who's using it, how they're using it, what they're using it for. So I don't want to say blanket it's right or wrong. I think we need to start thinking about how we're using it today in my class. Is this the right set of learners? Do I really need to use it for this particular purpose? When it comes to writing, I think that question related to writing, I can't speak to academic writing particularly, but we did look at the use of AI tools in writing and found some interesting affordances, some interesting benefits. So writing when AI power tools are used in writing, they're mostly used to aid with either grammar improvement or vocabulary improvement. There was one particular study in 2021 which showed that students were allowed to use Google Translate, and the less skilled learners were able to use that and then to actually show that they were writing at a level of the more skilled learners. So it can help students perform better. It can help them when used in a particular way, used responsibly. It can help them improve their output. So I don't think it's a question of blanket ban it, but thinking about how it's being used to actually help develop their skills and help aid them in learning.
I do like that. Yes, I hadn't considered that actually. Yeah, in a way, it can make the learning experience more level and equitable by sort of providing those tools that you need to do what you need to do.
Absolutely. And if I could just add something to that, this idea of it making the learning experience more equitable. Some of the people we interviewed, some of the experts we interviewed actually talked about how it can help learners who have issues like anxiety, for example, because if you're allowed to practice in a sort of safe environment, you're practicing conversation with the AI. We all get nervous when we're asked to speak in a language we're learning, and speak in front of other people. But if you can practice with a conversation with an AI, that actually has been shown in some cases to help lower learners' anxiety when speaking. So it's got interesting applications all around, not just for skills, but also in things like self-regulation and helping learners with their anxiety and their goal setting.
Excellent. Again, thank you for shedding light on that debate. I've got one eye on you, Ninaz, and the other eye is firmly on the comments that are zooming past my screen right now. So let's try and bring up a few into the discussion. So many great ones. This is I guess this is the big one. Should AI or digital tools be banned in schools? If you were a language educator, would you allow your students to use the AI tools? Well, that's a great question for the teachers who are watching. Do you allow your learners to use AI tools? Or do you show them how to make the most and get the best out of the AI tools available? Let us know in the comments. It's a great question. Absolutely. Let's check in on another question from Teresita. Digital literacy, does it impact fluency at all? Has there been any correlation?
I mean, I wonder what specific type of fluency you're referring to. If you mean fluency in terms of speaking, then yes, AI tools, power tools can be used to help improve speaking. Most of the studies that we looked at used AI tools to help improve pronunciation, actually. So not so much fluency, more pronunciation accuracy. There are a whole variety of AI-powered systems and programs used to improve students' pronunciation. But there were some studies we found which looked at using AI as a conversational partner. There was one which looked at using Alexa, which is a voice assistant that a lot of us, may have had experience with, and that helped the learners with vocabulary. It helped improve their language skills, and using AI as a language coach has been shown to improve fluency in some situations.
Excellent. So that kind of answers Nasreen's question here about AI in language learning. Is there any free apps for language learning? Yes, there are. In fact, there's a lot more coming on the market. Free, paid, and with advertising. So be well advised to do your own research before recommending those apps to your learners. But yes, this is a very exciting time for the development of apps to help you practice your English. This one, I think, is a big favorite with teachers. Adele says AI should be used to reduce those admin tasks. So
Yeah,
if they
absolutely.
could summarize the students' behavior and performance through the term and summarize it into a nice report for the parents, I would love an AI to do that.
That's the dream, isn't it, for every teacher? All of the time we spend doing admin will be mopped up and done by AI. Yeah, AI can be different types. So you can have learner-facing AI, which helps the students to learn. You can have teacher-facing AI, which helps teachers in teaching activities. And you can also have systems-facing, so which admin staff or teachers could use to look at student data. It is a very interesting prospect for sure. If I can just say one little caveat there, one little thing to keep in mind. if we increase the use of AI systems, we need to bear in mind that there is the possibility that more of your learners' data can be collected. So when you're using a system like that, just bear in mind, who's collecting that data, how is it used, is it a reliable sort of source, or is it something where you don't know how your learners' data will then be used or processed or shared on by the system. So that's just something to bear in mind.
That would be a very good time to mention, teachers watching, if you haven't already, do check out our free teacher training course, which looks at key digital skills to help your learners be safer online. Naomi will hopefully share a link to enroll in that course, but be quick. Enrollment ends on Monday. Ninas, there's lots and lots of questions and comments coming through. We did want to move on to something that kind of builds on what Jose says. I'm showing my students how to use ChatGPT voice mode to practice conversations and then having them record it in Zoom. So what you're mentioning there about a conversation partner, the AI can play a role to help you practice can be a good thing. You know?
Absolutely. And I think, thank you, Jose, for sharing that idea. I think one of the great things about a community like this is these are very creative approaches to making use of tools that are freely available. You don't need a specialized app or whatever. What is freely available, you can use that. And it's great that, we can share and exchange ideas like that. Marcus, if I could just pick up one of the comments from the
Yes.
chat. I think Gifty has mentioned, there's a comment by Gifty Anani. AI tools prove valuable in language classes, yet a shift in assessment methods is necessary as students commonly rely on these tools for assignments. It's such a great comment. And I think, rather than saying, let's, again, blanket ban the use of AI, it's a very interesting comment about the use of these tools for assignments and actually changing assessment methods. This is something that some of the experts we talked to told us. They said that maybe, the arrival of these kind of AI tools, the fact that students can generate an assignment quickly from them, will mean that we have to change the way we test our learners. We have to change the way we assess, and it may lead to better, newer, different types of assessment tasks. So that's a great comment. Thank you very much.
Yes, that's a good point. In fact, there's some themes coming from the teachers who are following this discussion, and assessment seems to be quite a big one. To what extent do you rely on AI to assess the speaking tasks, for example? I mean, yes, they can focus on the pronunciation and the words, but I think you're still going to need a teacher for some of these tasks, though, aren't you? Right, Nina. So, just going to finish with one comment before we sort of wrap up. I just want to find a good one. Well, they're all good. Okay. This one from, again, Gifty. I'd be grateful if you could allow teachers to give their experiences on the use of AI in the language classrooms. And I think that that's what we're noticing, certainly in conversations we're having on our Teaching English channels, is that, as you know as well about the training, teachers want to be able to incorporate AI tools in their teaching and to help their learners get the best out of those tools, but they're just not sure where to start. What might you advise teachers, besides signing up for the Key Digital Skills course, where would be a good place to start sort of figuring out how to use AI?
Okay, that's a great question. I think as you said, there are these fantastic free open access resources available on the Teaching English platform itself. I would start from there. Apart from the Key Digital Skills course, I mean, in the last month or so alone, there have been so many events around using these kinds of tools. When the day I gave the webinar on this topic last week, there were 3 other really interesting presentations on that talked about integrating technology, and some of them looked specifically at AI tools. So I'd highly recommend go and look at last week's mini event, the recordings from that. There some really good presentations by teachers, practitioners, and talk about how to kind of practically start and integrate these tools in your classroom, things you need to bear in mind.
Absolutely. And again, Naomi is working very hard this evening. We'll be sharing links to sign up for that course, but remember, before Monday, enrollment closes. Ninas, it's been an eye-opener, honestly. Every time we listen to you speak about the research and we find out something new, there are so many more discussions that we could have on AI within ELT, and I guess it's going to be a debate that will go on for some time yet.
It will, Marcus. Thank you very much for having me, and I loved hearing from all the teachers today.
Absolutely. Teachers watching, thank you so much for joining us, and do continue the conversation in the comments on this video. Share your experiences, not just for us, but with each other, so we can all pick up some tips and learn how everyone else is implementing AI tools. Teachers, do download the free research publication. You can find a link in the description of this video. But from us, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.